Confidence is not loud. It doesn't live in the crushing handshake, the high-volume brag, or the endless chatter that tries to plug every gap in conversation. It lives in stillness, a stillness so unshaken that it feels almost unnatural to those around you. The ability to sit in a room and not feel the itch to perform, explain, or prove anything. That is nonchalance, the quiet currency of the truly powerful. Why stillness shatters illusions of power. The loud and desperate perform for validation. They mistake motion for progress, reaction for strength. The still do not need the performance. They understand something that the frantic cannot. In the theater of power, silence is not absence. It is presence amplified. Machiavelli knew this when he wrote that a ruler must appear unshaken, whether the kingdom is thriving or collapsing. Not because the ruler is immune to disaster, but because perception shapes reality. If the people believe you are unmovable, they will behave as if you are. They will follow, obey, and hesitate before challenging you. Nonchalance in its pure form is the embodiment of this illusion. It's the performance of control without showing effort. Attention is currency. In the game of human interaction, every reaction you give is a payment. A flash of emotion, payment. A hasty defense, payment. An over-explanation, payment. The nonchalant man hoards this currency. He spends it like gold, sparingly, deliberately, and only where the return is worth the risk. He doesn't chase approval, doesn't justify himself, doesn't over-explain his motives. He makes the world work for his time, his words, his approval. This is why rivals find him frustrating, allies find him magnetic, and enemies find him dangerous. It is not laziness, it is calculated restraint. The weapon of psychological uncertainty. Humans fear what they cannot read. When a man reacts instantly to insults, pressure, or temptation, he becomes predictable. Predictability is the death of power. But the one who shows nothing, no crack, no clue, no tells, forces others into a fog of uncertainty. And uncertainty breeds fear. When people don't know whether you are confident, dangerous, or secretly plotting, they give you more credit than reality might justify. They overestimate your intelligence, your reach, your resources. In their minds, you grow larger than life. You become myth before you become fact. Why it works in every arena, nonchalance is not tied to one battlefield. It has ruled courts, boardrooms, war councils, and bedrooms alike. It is the same weapon wielded by emperors in their palaces and poker players at their tables. In business, the negotiator who waits the longest before speaking often sets the terms. In politics, the leader who stands calm while the crowd panics becomes the anchor in the storm. In relationships, the one who can walk away without flinching holds the upper hand. It is universal because human psychology is universal, driven by fear of the unknown and attraction to control. From shield to sword. Most first encounter nonchalance as a defense. They discover that by remaining calm, they avoid being manipulated. But the deeper truth is that nonchalance is not just a shield. It's a blade. It forces rivals into mistakes. It makes enemies overextend. It seduces allies by making them work for your attention. It flips the power dynamic. Instead of chasing, you make others chase you. Instead of proving your worth, you make others prove theirs. The art of withholding. The key to nonchalance is not giving the world what it craves from you. The provoker wants anger. You give them silence. The flatterer wants approval. You give them ambiguity. The manipulator wants a reaction. You give them a smile and nothing more. This denial starves them. It leaves them stranded without a script. People are not trained to operate in silence. so they fill the void with their own insecurity. Controlled detachment. Do not confuse nonchalance with detachment born of apathy. One is laziness, the other is discipline. Nonchalance means you are fully engaged in the game, but you choose when to move, how to respond, and if to respond at all. You do not dance to another's tempo, you set the tempo. In this way, you bend the emotional climate of every room you enter. The first principle. Nothing is urgent. Urgency is the enemy of nonchalance. When you react instantly, you give away your center of gravity. The nonchalant man learns to treat time as his ally. He delays his words. He delays his actions. He delays his reveals. This forces others to adjust to his pace, often without realizing it. And once you control the pace, you control the outcome. Part 2. Training for nonchalance. Nonchalance is not an act you perform in moments of convenience. It is a discipline you forge until it becomes your default state. The untrained man can fake composure for an hour. The trained man lives in it. And the difference is everything, because the game of power is rarely won in short bursts. It's won over months, years, decades, when others exhaust themselves reacting while you remain unmoved. To master this art, you must train in 3 arenas. 1. Mental discipline, controlling your inner world. 2. Physical discipline, controlling your outward expression. 3. Social discipline, controlling your presence in the world. Mental discipline, the inner fortress. Nonchalance begins in the mind. If your internal world is chaotic, your stillness will always crack under pressure. The goal is to train your thoughts to obey you, not the other way around. 1. Detach from urgency. Most people live as servants to the clock. A message arrives, they respond. A problem appears, they panic. A demand is made, they drop everything to comply. The nonchalant man refuses this rhythm. He rewrites his mind to believe. Nothing is as urgent as people make it seem. This isn't procrastination, it's strategy. Urgency makes you sloppy, it makes you predictable, and predictable men are easily controlled. Training drill. Delay all non-critical responses by at least 15 minutes. Let calls go to voicemail. Let the world wait for your reply. Over time, this creates a subtle shift, not only in how others see you, but in how you see yourself. You stop living in reaction and start living by design. 2. Control the inner monologue. Nonchalance collapses the moment you let your mind spiral. An insult, a rejection, a loss. The average man replays it endlessly, feeding it energy until it spills into his words and actions. The nonchalant man kills the replay. He treats every thought as a guest in his mind and ejects the ones that bring chaos. Training. Drill. The instant you catch yourself mentally rehearsing a grievance or insult, say, as silently or aloud, not useful. Redirect your focus to a neutral physical action, breathing, walking, adjusting your posture. Repeat until the habit is automatic. 3. Kill the need to prove. If you need to prove you're strong, smart, or superior, you've already lost the frame. Nonchalance is the opposite, the quiet belief that you are already those things, whether or not anyone notices. This requires killing the addiction to external validation. Training drill. In conversation, withhold your biggest achievement unless directly asked, and even then, downplay it. Watch how uncomfortable people become when you don't feed them obvious signals of status. You are teaching your mind that your identity is not a public performance. 2. Physical discipline. The body as an instrument. Your mind can be a fortress, but if your body leaks emotion, your secret is out. People read micro-expressions, posture, and tone far more than they listen to words. 1. The unmoved face. Most people give away their emotions without realizing it. A twitch of the mouth, a raised eyebrow, a tightening jaw. The nonchalant man trains these away. Training drill. Stand in front of a mirror. Imagine someone insulting you. Watch for micro-reactions. Nostrils flaring, lips pressing, eyebrows twitching. Practice returning to neutral expression instantly. Progress to having a friend try to provoke you verbally while you hold the neutral mask. 2. Slow, deliberate movements. Rushed movements signal anxiety and lack of control. The nonchalant man moves like time bends for him. Training drill. For one full day, move at 75% of your normal speed. Walk slower, turn slower, pick up objects slower. Speak slightly slower than others with deliberate pauses. This forces others to adjust to your rhythm. 3. Voice control. Your tone is as important as your words. The nonchalant man's voice is low, steady, and free of strain. Training drill. Record yourself reading aloud in your normal tone. Lower your pitch slightly, slow your pace, and remove all filler words. Like. You know? Practice speaking as if nothing could rush you. 3rd, social discipline. Controlling the game board. Nonchalance thrives when your presence is scarce and intentional. Overexposure kills it. 1. Strategic absence. If people can always reach you, you lose value. The less often they see you, the more impact you have when you appear. Training drill. Decline 1 out of every 3 social invitations, without explanation. Leave events early, without a big announcement. 2. Withhold reactions. In public, nonchalance is noticed most when others expect you to react. And you don't. Training drill. In meetings, wait until everyone else has spoken before you give your opinion. Part 3. Weaponizing nonchalance in power games. In power games, most people destroy themselves by overreacting. They defend every insult, chase every opportunity, and cling to every person as if letting go means losing. But the moment you learn to wield nonchalance as a weapon, you stop playing their game and start making them play yours. Why nonchalance is deadly indifference is terrifying to those who thrive on control. They expect you to respond. They want you to care. Because caring too much, too fast, puts you in their grip. When you're unshaken by provocation, you're not just calm, you're unreadable, and unreadable people are unmanageable. The enemy can't control what they can't predict. The psychology of silence and shrugs. When someone insults you and you react with anger, you tell them exactly how to hurt you. When you respond with nothing but a faint, almost bored smile, you take away their weapon. Nonchalance turns attention into your currency. You give it in small, deliberate doses. You don't rush to answer questions. You don't justify yourself. You let pauses linger until the other person fills them with their own insecurity. They start wondering, did I say something wrong? Are they hiding something? Do they know more than they're showing? That's the beauty. Nonchalance forces their mind to do your work for you. Pulling without chasing. Power comes when people lean toward you. You do this by removing the need to chase. You don't argue to win someone's approval. You let them wonder if they've lost yours. You don't beg to keep a deal. You let them feel what life is like without your presence. You don't respond to pressure with speed. You slow the game until they start pushing harder. Because the truth is, urgency is a leash. Cut it, and you're suddenly the one holding the rope. Nonchalance as a silent threat. Make no mistake, nonchalance is not weakness. It's the slow drip of psychological pressure. It says, I'm not fighting for this, but if I walk away, you'll feel it. In power games, the loudest threat isn't the one shouted. It's the one wrapped in calm silence, the one that forces the other side to imagine the consequences. The masters of this art, Machiavelli, Talleyrand, Sun Tzu, understood that in human conflict, tension is more valuable than action, and nonchalance is how you make tension work for you. When you stop reacting, when you make people work for your attention, when you let them feel the void of your absence, you're no longer just playing the game. You've become the board it's played on. Pitfalls and dangers of weaponizing. Nonchalance. Nonchalance is powerful because it makes others question themselves. But like all powerful tools, misuse turns it from a weapon into a weakness. 1. Becoming predictably unpredictable. If every time someone provokes you, you always respond with cool detachment, they'll learn your game. Once they understand that you'll never react, your nonchalance loses its bite. The true Machiavellian keeps people unsure, sometimes icy, sometimes intense, so the opponent never adapts. Predictability is the death of influence. Too much calm makes you easy to read. 2. Mistaking detachment for disengagement. Nonchalance works because it's calculated, not careless. If you drift too far into apathy, you'll start missing crucial signals, shifting alliances, subtle power moves, early warning signs of betrayal. The master of control never stops watching. They just never let you see it. Your enemy should think you're asleep while you're mapping their every move. 3. Ignoring the emotional clock. In any power game, there are moments when emotion is a weapon. A perfectly timed outburst can disarm, intimidate, or rally support. If you cling too tightly to the mask of calm, you'll miss those windows. Nonchalance should be a tool in your arsenal, not your entire strategy. 4. Underestimating the silent enemy. When you radiate cool confidence, insecure people will attack harder, not because you've done something wrong, but because your composure threatens them. The more you appear untouchable, the more they'll try to find the chink in your armor. If you're unprepared, they'll find it. 5. Losing your humanity. Nonchalance taken too far breeds distance, and distance breeds distrust. If you never show vulnerability, people will assume you have none, and that makes them less likely to connect with you on any personal level. A skilled manipulator knows when to let the mask slip just enough to maintain loyalty. The final truth. Nonchalance is not about feeling nothing. It's about controlling what you show. The danger is forgetting that even in the shadows, you must still move, and those moves must be deliberate. The transformation of self, told through stories. Parable 1, The Man Who Refused to Change. In a small village, there was a blacksmith named Harun, who always complained about the heat in his workshop, the weight of his hammer, and the soreness in his back. Every evening, the villagers would hear him mutter, "Life is unfair to me." One day, a wandering monk visited the village. Hearing Harun's complaints, the monk asked, "If you dislike the heat, why do you keep the furnace burning?" Harun replied, "Because I am a blacksmith. This is my work." The monk smiled gently. "No, this is your cage." It wasn't until years later, after his hands had grown stiff and his back bent, that Harun realized the monk had not been talking about his job, but about the prison he had built inside his own mind. Lesson. Transformation begins the moment you stop defending the very habits that keep you trapped. Case study. From corporate burnout to self-mastery background. Priya, 45, had been in the corporate world for 2 decades. She made 6 figures, but every morning she woke up with a knot in her stomach. She thought her problem was the workload. Turning point. One evening, her mentor told her, "Your job isn't breaking you. The version of yourself you bring to your job is." This made her rethink everything. Over the next year, she didn't just change her schedule. She dismantled her identity as a corporate survivor and rebuilt herself as a calm, decisive leader. Result: same company, same job title. But her health improved, her relationships deepened, and she no longer felt trapped because she had changed. Parable 2. The Potter and the Clay. A young apprentice worked under a famous potter. Every day he would throw clay on the wheel, shape it, and then start again. Months passed, and he grew frustrated. "Master," he said, "I want to make something beautiful, but it always collapses." The master looked at him and said, "The clay will only rise as high as the hands that shape it. First, shape your hands." The apprentice realized the clay was never the problem. His skill, patience, and stillness were. Lesson: before you shape the world, shape yourself. The Parable of the Locked Room. There's an old story about a prisoner who spent 20 years trying to break out of his cell. Every day he picked at the lock, filed the bars, chipped away at the stone with a spoon. He grew older. His hands grew weaker. His back bent. One day, after decades of trying, he collapsed in exhaustion and leaned against the door, and the door swung open. It had never been locked. He just never tried pushing it. Most people live exactly like that prisoner. They are trapped inside a prison of their own thinking, convinced they need more strength, more years, more grind before they can step into the life they want. So they work and work and work, never realizing the way out isn't in breaking the bars. It's in knowing where to push. That's why you're here. Not for entertainment, not for feel-good fluff, but because some part of you knows you've been picking at the wrong lock. I'm not here to give you hope. Hope is what they feed you to keep you working on the wrong problem. I'm here to hand you the map they never wanted you to see. The map that shows where the real door is, the one that opens when you touch it. But here's the catch. I don't put this map in plain sight. The world is already too loud. Too many people want the shortcut, but won't pay the price in attention. That's why the only way in is to stay close. When you subscribe, you're not just following a channel. You're stepping into the room where the real conversations happen, the ones that don't make it to the surface, the strategies that have been stripped from public view, the mental weapons no one will ever hand you for free. Because in the quiet corners, away from the crowd, things change. Your patterns, your decisions, your control over your own life. The crowd will tell you to hustle harder, to scream louder, to fight more battles. But I'll tell you the truth. The most dangerous people don't run at the fight. They make others bring the fight to them. And when the fight comes, they've already won. If you think you can survive another year, another decade, locked inside the same mental prison, then close this page, go back to filing the bars. But if you're ready to stop picking at locks and start opening doors, then stay, subscribe, because the moment you do, the rules change, and so do you.